Curly D, it's Ejani, Technicolor P, Technicolor Priestess. Hello, whoever's there. Okay, so today I'm actually going to answer some questions from my, that I've gotten in my Facebook group. Yes. We're going to answer those just for funskies. So I'm going to answer some questions, and if you all have questions about your elements, put them in here and I'll hang out and answer them, okay? So the first question, I may not know how to be air. I think I only know my fire side. I guess both need more understanding to spice me up. So air and fire. So there are, that is a very potent combination, air and fire. So Petra asked this. So Petra, you need more understanding about air. So here's the thing, fire is very like, fire, when you're fire and air, fire will definitely take the lead, right? Fire is very edgy, it's very super duper, it's the most extroverted of the elements. It's sexy, it's powerful, it's potent, it's flashy, right? In a very edgy way, in a very, almost disruptive, and not in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way, right? In a disruptive way. Whereas air is also extroverted, but in a peppy, happy-go-lucky, likable, more digestible way than fire, right? So sometimes, depending on how you're raised, who you hang out with, like even what profession you're in, either air or fire is going to be more sort of, palatable, acceptable by those around you, so you'll tend to defer to that. So maybe if you're raised by, like, in a family of fires, you're gonna, in order to assert yourself and to really, like, be part of the family, you're going to bring out your fire more, right? So maybe you're gonna be super frank and direct and really fucking go there and like a little bit rebellious, and you're gonna start revolutions and burn shit down, right? And with your clothing as well, maybe you just go full throttle, like studs and leather and lace and all that shit, right? And so the air part gets ignored. Or you can be in a family or like whatever, in a context where air, that's very, again, playful, likable, kind of sweetheart energy, with bright colors. It's like springtime, right? Kind of preppy and can be kind of preppy and like sometimes very girly, like, outfits and things like that, like rounded collars and cute little proper dresses and things like that. That's obviously, it feels like it's in a different direction, right? But when you bring those two together, you get the frankness, the directness, the edge, and you get that you get it like, not even rounded, but it's like in a swirly, friendlier version that, with air, with the pops of like happiness, right? So it's almost like, if you can imagine, like, I like to say, like a candy punk, for example, that energy, right? And if you just allow them both, air and fire, to come on in, Petra, and just say, you know what, you're both amazing, you're both extroverted in your own way, I get to really fully embody both of you, bring it, like guide me. That's one really amazing way to get to know your elements, because they are consciousnesses. So if you want to ask your air, like, air, I want you to have more of a spot in my makeup and in my expression. So show me how I can help you do that. Show me pieces that I can bring in, of clothing. Show me colors, show me pieces of jewelry, show me different characteristics that I can bring out more in myself that maybe I've been pushing down, right? Because I've been deferring to fire. And so you can actually have a conversation with your element, like journaling or even talking out loud. I do that a lot, actually. Talking to my elements, like, air, like, seriously, what would you do about this? Come on. Or space, like, where are we going next, right? Tell me what to do next. Yeah, it's really easy to do while you're talking, while you're writing, while you're getting dressed. You can even say in front of your closet, like, okay, air, I'm gonna let you take the lead today. So what would really feel amazing and like a fuck yeah to you, air? Just guide me, right? And you'll likely have a piece that boop pops out at you that you can start with. So it's really acknowledging the one that's been ignored more, letting it have its place, right? Talking to it, getting to know it, which is really going to help you no matter what your two elements are. Beautiful. So that was question number 1. So question number 2 is, when getting bored with my signature style, how can I spice it up? Okay, so Carlos is asking this. I feel like all I wear is button-up shirts with a folded in V, which is a really cool signature, but I totally get that would get old. And it's amazing, but I want signature stuff, like multiple, not just one signature thing, right? So how many other people are feeling this? Like, you have 1 or 2 templates or kind of articles of clothing that you like, and you bring it in, but then you're like, fuck, how do I change it up? How do I keep it fresh? And so if boredom is coming, If boredom is coming, if certain things are feeling stale, there's a good chance that a lot of what you have in your closet, you kind of outgrown, right? Or that iteration of the outfits that have really felt amazing, not unfortunately, it's just how it is, right? Since you're continuously expanding and growing more and more, like the bigger you get, the more your style evolves, right? So obviously certain things that felt really amazing, you're gonna be like a few weeks or months or whatever later, you'll be like, that's it, like I'm so over it, this is fucking boring, right? What else you got? So a couple of fun ways is, one, to maybe take the things that you've been really leaning on in your closet. Like if you have a few shirts that you've just kind of been defaulting to that were exciting before and they're kind of becoming monotonous and robotic a little bit, take that shit out of your closet. Take those pieces out of your closet so that your brain and your awareness are shopping from a different collection when you go to get dressed, right? Remove that stuff, even if it's, 10 pieces of the stuff you repeat over and over. If you want to freshen it up, you need to give yourself a new sort of energetic landscape in your closet. So remove a bunch of stuff and it'll allow you to also get your creative juices flowing in a different way with these new items, right? So it's almost like giving yourself different ingredients instead of like always relying on whatever, onions and tomatoes and cheese to make shit. You're going to put those aside and now you're going to give yourself cucumber and you know what I mean. I'm not going to think of two other foods. Apparently I can't bear to think of two other foods, right? So you're going to actually create a whole different collection from which to shop, different ingredients to shop from. And obviously, inevitably, it's going to give you different ideas, right? Another way to do it is to really meditate, like tap into your iconic self and just ask, where are we going next? Like, give me a clue, start giving me signs, start guiding me, show me what is next for me. Show me what is next for me. Like, put it into my awareness, right? And when you go to your closet, you can also ask iconic you, iconic me, like, please guide me. Where do we go? And so you pick a piece, okay, iconic me, what is next? Show me what is next. I want my next iteration. I want a taste of it. I want guidance. Show me what's next. And then you see and you put it on and you'll see that it's going to be pretty different from what you've been wearing. Where do you find more unique, eccentric, cool stuff? I mean, there's a lot of shit. If you start doing a search online, Davina, I guarantee that the Facebook and other ad things will be like, and we gotcha. You're going to be drooling over everything. Because it's kind of like a universal algorithm. Facebook, it works like as soon as you put your attention on something, it'll start bringing you more cool shit, right? So one place that kind of has all the elements and all price ranges that I really dig is ASOS, A-S-O-S. Also Shein, if you want to also like play and experiment at not a very high price point, just as you get to know your elements, right, and refine, then Shein.com is a really great place. They have a lot of like cool shit, a lot of like edgy and kind of weird stuff as well. A shit ton of choices at a very low price point. So that's a great place also to experiment, Davina. And some others, just Wolf and Badger, that's a different price point, but beautiful pieces definitely. Also Souk and Sepia is a really good Souk, so S-O-U-K, and Sepia, S-E-P-I-A, like the photography, right? So that is another great place that you can go find some cool, fiery and spacey pieces. But really, if you just start looking like for like architectural tops or like monochromatic outfits or whatever, Universe via Facebook and other targeting ads will definitely send lots of yum yum your way. Okay, Edna, what is air's little known magic? You've spoken before about how each element has its go-to sabotage and secret strength. Yes, Edna, so each of the elements have several superpowers. And so air can often be sort of the jester. Like if we think of archetypes, like air is often considered the jester, which means that it's very brainy. It knows how to flip things and in a humorous way, in a lighthearted way, even when they're hard truths, even when things are like getting real and shit's hitting the fan. Air can come in and lighten things up, sprinkle some magic, give some awarenesses and even some deep truths, but in a really lighthearted way. So, which is really powerful because sometimes through humor, like, so the jester, why? Because the jester would go to the king's court and often like do these little songs and ditties and dances to entertain the court, right, and the king. But a lot of times it would be talking about the shit that was happening out there that they didn't know about, or making fun or poking fun, bringing awareness to certain topics that the king maybe couldn't hear in another way, because then he, you know, he'd be like, I'm gonna behead you, or the queen, right? Like, fuck you, go, right? I don't want to hear this shit. So air is amazing at taking very complex, deep, sometimes like really intense topics and bringing amazing lightness and really touching people through humor and that playfulness. So that's actually one of the air superpowers. And just extreme likability. It's an easy way to get into the door for air, right? Like that likability, trustability, it can happen very quickly because there is that sort of sweetheart factor with air. Okay, so that's that. So Kimberly says, I'm so water, but I don't know what my secondary element is. When I took the quiz a second time, as prompted in the email, I got water again. Is it possible that I'm double water? So here's why we cannot be double water, or double anything for that matter, because we are all way too nuanced, too multifaceted, too complex, right? We are too unique for that. So in my whatever system, in the iconic essence system, there are two elements, right? The two elements, they come, and it's not actually about the elements. It's about certain characteristics that they hold, and they come in together, and they open up a portal, and together they unlock, just like on a crazy adventure movie like Indiana Jones. It's like the two crystals. You have your whatever, your water and your whatever space, for example. You put the crystals in, and suddenly the boulders open, and there's a whole magical wonderland with lights and like coming through. That's what happens, and you tap into your iconic you. So these elements actually unlock who you truly are. They unlock your distinct signature, your distinct frequency, because it's your essence. No one else in the galaxy has your essence, right? So if you were just to be water, like water alone, actually did a fun little spoof on this, but if you're just leaning into one of your elements, that's a lot of times what ends up creating like this frustration with style and feeling like you're missing something. Like, God, I feel like I'm literally watered down, or just really stale, or plain, or vanilla, or whatever, beige, right? Soggy oatmeal, because it's that second element that comes in, and when they again come together and open that, they create synergy. They create synergy and your unique signature together, right? So the second one is required. So Kimberly, I would invite you to go back and take the quiz a second time, not using your brain, okay, with your second best answers. So, yeah, there's also a thing with the quiz. Sometimes it's not an exact science, right? So at the end of the day, sometimes you can just tap in and say, truth, what is my second element? What is my second element? Brain, you're not invited. Truth, what's my second element? And you will get an awareness, and you will get it, and then you trust that, and then you play with that and lean into it. So you think space has taken over more, and you want fire to come in more. So I would allow fire to have more of a say. So Davina, you can literally talk to fire and say, fire, I'm basically giving you a promotion. I'm trusting you more. I feel like we've gotten to know each other. I'm gonna give you more responsibility. So I'm actually gonna let you take the lead on choosing our outfit today, Fire. So can you show me what would be most supportive to you today? And see what Fire brings out for you. Because Fire will be like, fuck yeah, I can show you. And it'll be something totally different from what you're used to, right? Talk to Fire, ask it questions, allow it to feel included. Just like with any relationship, right? Invite it in. Let it do its thing, and it will rock your world and surprise you. That plus textures equals magic, Davina, okay? How can I blend? Oh, okay. So Erica also has asked, I just found my elements are fire and earth. How can I blend the two? I love deep jewel tones as well as anything black, fascinating fabrics and design elements that are quirky. All while looking powerful and professional. A real pro knows the rules well enough to break them fantastically. Thanks. Okay, so again, so Erica, so fire and earth, that's a beautiful combination because you've got that fierceness of fire, that like outgoing, like in your face edginess, right? That can bring some like, you know, sexiness. Like for example, Angelina Jolie is fire and earth. So she's always chic, and there's always a slight edge to her, right? Whether it's her lipstick or her accessories or just how she carries herself. Like, am I a villain? Am I whatever? Am I gonna do something crazy right now? You don't know, right? And remember her Billy Bob Thornton's blood vial days? That's so fire, right? She was totally in her fire before. Now actually when she's out and about, it's like she wants to turn it off and back away. So she actually presents in water when I was doing some research recently. But Yeah, so Angelina Jolie, chic and fierce and also and like powerful, right? And always edgy, either edgy in that sexiness or the power or the rebellion, right? Rebelliousness, right? There's always going to be that edge. So Erica, it's not really about blending your two elements. It's about allowing them both to have the freedom and carte blanche, right? And the trust from you to do exactly what they're meant to do, to open that portal to your iconic self, right? To take you to your signature look, your signature style, your signature frequency. So it's about inviting them both in, talking to them both, getting to know them both, and asking questions, getting curious, playing with them, right? So just play with it. Keep playing with that. And if you feel, hold on, you love deep jewel, fascinating fabrics. So, and also notice which of the two elements you've been neglecting. Which one have you been defaulting to? Because then the one that's been neglected, you're going to want to give it more attention. You want to coax it out in a way, like invite it out, really let it know it's safe and that it's okay now, because that's likely one of the elements that you've been neglecting represents a whole part of you that you've been like avoiding, right? Resisting. So it's really going to take time and kindness and focus to let that second one come out and really allow it to be part of your elemental makeup, your energetic makeup. Okay? Okay, so Ruth. So can we change elements at different times? Okay, this is a brilliant question and one that I get a lot. So the answer is no. Your elements are your elements because they are your essence. Your essence is like the very core of you that you like were born with, and as far as I'm concerned, you have gone through other lifetimes with, right? Like it's your essence. Okay, so your elements are always your elements, right? That's always what makes up your essence. That portal, that unique, distinct energy that I was talking about, right? Now, sometimes it takes a long time for people to get on board with what their elements actually are, right? There can be resistance like a mofo. I've had people go through like 2 or 3 of my boot glamps, the glow the fuck up boot glamps, before allowing themselves to really embrace their elements, because their brain was telling them they had to hold on to these other elements. For example, there's a woman who's space and fire, but she was really showing up as water, and she wanted desperately to be water because it was safe and it was flowy and easy breezy and it was acceptable in her family. And she resisted, so she thought she was water at first. So she came water, like was doing everything water, until she was like, something is still off, it's not right. And then when she really got real with herself and like totally embraced like just being uncomfortable with who she actually is and knowing that that was okay, she realized she was actually fire and space. Instead of water and earth, she's actually fire and space, right? So it's not that her elements changed, it's that she finally gave herself permission to see what her elements actually were and start expressing in that way. And let me tell you, once she shifted, like immediately, once she became fire and space, total fucking transformation. Total fucking transformation. Okay, I don't know where it cut off, but Ruth, it probably, felt safe to you, and you felt like you felt like, no, I can handle earth. We can deal with earth, right? Now, air and space is a whole different animal, right? So it probably didn't feel really easy to embrace and even see that part, because as long as we're sort of operating through the lens of this identity that has been kind of created for us that we buy into, it's really hard for us to see certain parts of ourselves, right? So the more we work on ourselves, the more we get to know ourselves, these blinders come down, and then we're like, fuck, oh my God, that was me all along. Right? So in fact, I have polka dots and have never worn them. This explains it. Yes, Ruth, polka dots are so air. Polka dots are so air. I love that, Ruth. So it's time to embrace the polka dots. Of course they were in your closet, right? That happens a lot there. The stuff that has all the price tags you've never dared to wear, they're usually the stuff that's your actual element that you weren't giving yourself permission to embrace and actually, express. And for me, I've shared this before, but like, the first few years literally of doing this work and helping my clients, I did not know what my elements were. I knew what I thought I wanted my elements to be, but I couldn't see what my elements actually were. Like it was like a whole different language when it came, like with my clients, I can see it easily, right? Or with anyone for that matter. But for myself, I was like, what the fuck? What if I'm none of these elements? Like, I don't get it, right? until eventually I started understanding myself more, embracing myself more, accepting myself more. And I realized the parts of myself that I was resisting, like the air, kind of like bubbly, happy-go-lucky, like super likable, nice, like all that stuff that I was like cringing over before because I thought it made me seem dumb and like flaky. I was like, fuck. You know, that's where I started seeing the shadow stuff, right? Where it's like, man, I was trying to hide my air, which created all this shadowy shit, right? So yes, your elements, long story short, your elements don't change. Your willingness to see them does change. There you go. Beautiful. Okay, and I think that's all the questions from this little thread. Thready do. All right, darlings. Mwah, 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 mwah. Air kisses.